Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are still in Estonia, but we're going to head over to England for this review and we're going to have a look at another beer from a brewery who I really quite like. They're very well known, but it's one that I don't get to review all that many things from, and this is a beer style that I really like actually. So for this one then we are going to head to the southwest of England, to Bristol, and we're having a look at another beer from Moor Beer Company. So this one is called the JedIPA. It comes in at 9% ABV and they're describing this one as a red rye IPA, although I guess we could describe this as being an Imperial red rye IPA. So if you've watched the channel before, you will know that I absolutely love Imperial red ales and things like this. So when I found this one in a can at Uba I knew I just had to get one of these to review actually. I think I might have tried this beer on tap when I was there, because I saw, Imperial red and I thought, right, need to have one of these. But I can't remember 100%, but I think 90% sure I have tasted this beer on tap. But I wanted to get this one and actually review it properly for you on the channel. So here we are. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying this one, and as always I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer too. And nice to return to Moor Beer after quite some time actually. So yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Moor Beer Company before. This must be review number 4 or maybe 5 involving these guys, but hopefully I can do some more at some point soon. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the English beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Moor Beer Company then, on to my brewery notes. So Moor Beer Company, as I've told you before, are based in Bristol, and the company was founded back in the 90s, but then it was taken over in 2007 by Californian Justin Hawk and his wife Mary Ann. So the company is named after the Levels and Moor area of Somerset, where they were originally based as a farm brewery, and that name has just kind of carried with them as the company has grown and grown. So Justin actually has a military background, and he learned to brew back in 1995 in San Francisco, and he'd returned to the US from Germany, and so he says that he really likes kind of German beer and the sort of hazy philosophy that German beers have, and he likes to combine this with the American kind of flavour forward approach. So he and his wife moved to Bristol in 2014, and the brewery was moved to a premises behind the Temple Meads railway station, and they've also got their tap room there and a shop as well. That's somewhere that I really do need to go and check out at some point. I need to get back to Bristol, so I'll go and visit my good friend Harry over at Blue Nose Beer Reviews and probably take a look around Bristol and do some filming and things like that. But these guys are known for having quite a few different series of beer that they release. They are a very prolific brewery, to be honest with you. So they've got their Session Pale series that they have, the Session Ambers, the Full Flavoured series, the Dark Side series, and various kind of limited editions and things like that as well. So yeah, if you go on to the Moor Beer website, you are going to be greeted with a hell of a lot of choice of beers, and they seem to produce everything, fairly regularly actually. As of August 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, these guys have produced 86 different beers according to Untappd. I was surprised that it was so low, to be honest with you. I thought these guys, I wonder if that number is accurate, because I've seen so many different beers from Moor Beer Company, but these guys are producing in the region of 600 hectolitres of beer per year from what I understand. I've heard very good things about the Moor tap room, both I think from Rob at Hopscene and from Harry at Blue Nose Beer Reviews. So yeah, that's definitely somewhere that I want to go and check out at some point. Moor Beer do export kind of fairly widely across Europe from what I gather. For some reason in Sweden we don't really get them, but I've seen them in Copenhagen. I'm sure I've seen them in Germany as well actually when I was there, and obviously you can get them here in Estonia too. So Moor Beer are fairly well known English craft brewery these days. So yeah, definitely one that you want to try. I think the first beer that I reviewed from these guys was Hoppiness, and I've reviewed maybe another 2 or so since then before we review this one. So yeah, really curious to see what this beer has in store for us. I can't really tell you much more about Moor Beer Company. I wasn't able to find much information on the original owners and things of the brewery, but I know that Justin bought it when it wasn't doing very well, and he's kind of revitalised it and taken it to where it is now along with his wife. So yeah, but as I say, that's all I can tell you. If you want to learn more about this brewery, you can check out the brewery website in the video description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's go on and actually have a taste of this beer then. So I'll just have a quick look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. As you can see, it is, you know, really nicely presented. It's typical of the Moor Beer things actually. This one is a very this is a really typical example of one of their cans. The artwork is slightly different, I think, but very, very similar in a lot of ways to the other ones you'll find. And yeah, 330ml, I think I paid like €6 for this one, but so it was a little bit pricey. One, because it's an import beer to Estonia. I'm not sure, I think the tariffs aren't applying on English goods and stuff like that yet. But yeah, 9% red rye Imperial Imperial Red Rye IPA, this one. But yeah, really nicely presented. Without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. And I'm very curious to see what this beer's like. I think, as I say, I think I tried this beer on tap in Uba but yeah, let's see how we go with this. This should be nice. That's about 2/3 of it in the glass just now. So yeah, I just washed this glass, so I don't know what it is about these glasses that they keep, the carbonation keeps sticking to the sides. I just rinsed them and everything. But yeah, this one, as you can see, it's poured a lovely kind of sort of mahogany-ish colour. I think it's fair to describe this beer as a nice kind of light mahogany colour. You can see there's about a quarter finger of a frothy, I would say very light, kind of beige, fawny coloured head on this beer. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head there. But overall, this one does look pretty nice and pretty much what you would expect from a red rye IPA, to be honest with you. This one is pretty damn hazy. If I stick my fingers behind the glass, you can see it is really pretty damn hazy. But yeah, it looks nice. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, like I said. 1 or 2 little bits of sediment floating around in this one actually, which is quite nice. But yeah, in terms of a red rye IPA, this is pretty much what you could expect. Back in the day, you know, this one might have been kind of clear, if you like, but these days, of course, many IPAs are hazy. So yeah, let's have a look at the aroma then and see how we got on. Nothing too surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance. Yeah, straight away with this one, you smell the big kind of boozy notes out of it. So you can smell that lovely kind of rye, brown bready base to the beer. And that gets thicker and thicker, I think. So yeah, lovely kind of rye bread, brown bready base to this beer. On top of that, you can smell a good bit of a sweet kind of caramel to it, a lovely kind of sweet caramel. Maybe it's got a little bit of a kind of treacly note as well, actually. But the brown sugars are quite toasty. There's a lovely McVitie's digestive biscuity quality to this one as well. And yeah, definitely biscuity, definitely kind of really rich sweet caramel, also a bit of a toasted brown sugar in there. But yeah, the aroma that comes out of this beer, I think, is very, very nice. It comes across as very oily and very boozy the more and more that you smell of it. You start to get a few kind of woody undertones to it. There's a little bit of nuttiness in there as well. So this beer does have a good bit of complexity in the malt base, I think, and I like that about it. This is why I like Imperial Reds, because they're big boozy and big malty kind of things. I guess it's as Chris Pilkington from Puyala put it when I've been out here in Estonia. He was saying that it's the Scottish sweet tooth. I really love the big malty beers actually, but this one really has that, but it does get more and more grainy the more you smell of it, but woody and nutty undertones in there as well. On the hoppy side of things, there's a little bit of earthiness to this one. There is a wee tiny touch of herbal quality, but I do get quite a bit of floral aromaticity, a bit of a lighter grassiness as well. And on the fruity side of things, for me, there's a good bit of an orangey note to it. There's a wee bit of a yeah, there's a good little bit of an orangey quality to this one. And I really like that about this. Yeah, some nice juicy orangey qualities. There is a bit of a kind of red fruity note in there as well. Like a little bit of a kind of figgy, like figgy raisiny type note. But yeah, mainly a kind of big oily, orangey character out of this one. So that's interesting. It's got a few kind of cakey notes to it as well. But I don't find this beer overly prominent in terms of fruitiness. I think this one's more focused on the malt and things. Yeah, red rye IPA, I guess you would kind of expect that from it. But yeah, take a little bit of time and enjoy that aroma before you get stuck into the beer. We're going to taste this one now. This one is the JedIPA, a 9% Imperial red rye IPA, I guess you could say, from Moor Beer Company, now based in Bristol in the southwest of England. Let's get stuck into this one. Sláinte, skål, Terve 6, since we're in Estonia. Yeah, this is pretty nice actually. I really like this. Always been a sucker for these red Imperial Reds and rye IPAs and stuff like that. I like the kind of graininess and the breadiness you get out of these beers. But yeah, this one does have a good bit of grainy bitterness to it as well. Yeah, this is pretty nice actually. I really like how this goes together, so thumbs up from me. Straight away then with this beer, you get that nice you do get a nice little bit of a kind of toasty, well-fired, bread crusty quality. That blankets the middle of your palate. On top of that, there's a really nice sort of brown bready quality there. That's the kind of rye bread. It's almost like a bit like a kind of German rye bread, this one, but towards the back third of your palate, it does have a little bit more of a kind of toasty, grainy note to it, like a well-fired bread crust, as I was saying. Yeah, I think that's definitely fair to say. So yeah, it does have a roasty, bread crusty backbone, but it's definitely more kind of prominent, if you like, towards the back third of the palate there. You definitely get a bit more of a roasty, toasty, grainy note to this one. But yeah, in the middle third of your palate, it's got a bit more complexity to it. Yeah, you can feel at the back of the palate the brown bready notes kind of thicken up a little bit. But yeah, in the middle third of your palate, roasty, toasty, grainy notes. On top of that, the thicker, kind of slightly sweeter brown bready notes. And then in the middle of your palate, you do get a very strong, kind of sweet, brown sugary note there. And as you move further out from that, it starts to get a little bit more kind of toasty and treacle-like almost, which is interesting. There is definitely a kind of that darker, kind of more caramelised, treacly brown sugar coming out of this one. But yeah, as you gradually move out from the centre of your palate, you can feel there's a bit of like a Werther's Originally type flavour, and then it develops a kind of biscuity sort of thing as well, which is interesting. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was a few kind of woody undertones to this beer as well. Like if you go to the front corners of your palate, then move back diagonally, there's definitely a nice little bit of a kind of woody undertone to the beer. And if you go to the very centre of your palate, then move kind of directly forward, you'll see a nutty kind of flavour developing out of this one. Yeah, there is a wee bit of a slightly nutty flavour there just before you reach the kind of front third of your palate. Incidentally, that border between the middle third of your tongue and the front third of your tongue, there is a bit of a kind of bready, slightly almost cakey-ish quality there. Like it's almost like a kind of rye bread crusty type quality there, which is quite interesting. But yeah, let's look at the hoppy side of this beer then. Back corners of the palate, there's definitely a little bit of earthiness there. As you move further forward along the kind of front sides of your tongue, there's definitely some nice floral aromaticity coming out of the beer. Round the very front curve of your palate, it's a bit lighter and grassy in my mind. And then I would say though that the green side of the hops here, they really lean towards a slightly spicy floral side of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a wee bit of Columbus or Chinook in this one as the base. It didn't say on the website what the kind of hoppy side of this beer was actually made of, but there is a good little bit of floral aromaticity and spiciness to this beer. But yeah, lighter and grassy and a bit zesty almost on the front part of your palate, which is interesting. But yeah, on the fruity side of things, again, this one's pretty nice. If you go towards the back of that that front third of your tongue where the fruity esters come out, as I always say, the fruity esters come out in that little oily bubble behind the front curve of the palate. So to go towards the back of that, you've got a nice little bit of, you've definitely got a bit of a kind of starker and stronger grapefruity note there, but very quickly you go into that and it sort of mellows out a little bit, and as you reach the kind of front part of your tongue there, I do find this beer, the very kind of front tip of your tongue also, there's a nice kind of big oily orange bubble actually, and I like how that goes together, definitely. So yeah, lovely big nice kind of orangey bubble to this one. You can feel there's a little bit of there is a little touch of red fruity note to this one, like a little kind of juicy figgy quality in there, but mainly I find this beer to be quite big and orangey and stuff, but you can feel the kind of graininess, you can feel the kind of brown bready graininess of this beer just creeping forward underneath the fruity side of it, to be honest, so that you can feel the graininess on that front third of your tongue as well, which is really interesting. You know, it's a red rye IPA, and the rye really does dominate in this one, but it doesn't, I think it does it in a very nice way actually. I really like how this beer goes together, but it's an Imperial red rye IPA, you do expect it to be a very malty leaning beer, and this one certainly is that, but it does have a good little bit of kind of big hoppy bitterness to back it up, if that makes sense. So yeah, I do like how this one goes together. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say that this beer is pretty, it's kind of, it's full bodied, I think, definitely, kind of lower end of full bodied. The carbonation is very smooth, big sort of oily mouthfeel, I would say. Yeah, big kind of oily mouthfeel. I'm still very curious whether this one has wheat in it or whatever, because it does have a little bit of a kind of thick there. It just says, this is malted barley and rye. I wondered with the haziness in this beer if it did have a little bit of wheat in it, but it's not listed there. But yeah, the mouthfeel of this one, I think, yeah, bottom end of full bodied, carbonation is very smooth. This one is quite an oily beast for me. It's quite a big oily beer in my mind. In terms of the kind of hoppy bitterness then, I would say that this beer, I think this is about 60 IBUs. This has got quite a bitter kick to it, which is it's quite nice. I think when you've got a big kind of spicy malty beer like this, you do need a bit of bitterness just to balance that out. But yeah, in terms of the malt base then, you know, good bit of grainy bitterness in there as well, that's contributing to the IBU, I think, but a good bit of sweetness in there, quite a big oily sweetness in the middle of the palate, I would say, and there's a few kind of nice kind of sweet undertones to this beer too. In terms of fruitiness, again, I would say it's quite oily, but there's a wee touch of juicy fruity character to it as well. But this is a really quite fascinating beer. This one, I've really enjoyed reviewing this one, I have to say. I think this one's been really, really interesting. So yeah, definitely gets a thumbs up from me, this one. The JedIPA, 9% ABV, red rye IPA. I think this is very, very nice. Definitely a more kind of grainy leaning beer, but that's what you would expect from this style, of course. But yeah, another very, very solid beer from Moor Beer Company as well. I need to try a few kind of stouts and things like that from these guys, maybe a lager or two, because I think all the beers that I've had have been kind of hoppy leaning beers actually, so I do need to get a few, like an Imperial stout or a lager or something like that from Moor Beer Company as well. So yeah, definitely something I'll look into at some point fairly soon. But yeah, this one was the JedIPA, 9% red rye Imperial IPA from Moor Beer Company in Bristol. Let's leave it at that for this one. So guys, thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Moor Beer Company as well. We will no doubt return to these guys at some point fairly soon, but this one was a lovely beer. These guys are a very good brewery in my experience, and if you're interested in English craft beer, then Moor Beer Company in the city of Bristol is definitely a good place to get started. But just be aware there's lots of stuff in England that is pretty damn good. So yeah, thank you again for watching. I'll catch you guys very soon. This one was the JedIPA, a 9% Imperial Red Rye IPA from Moor Beer Company in Bristol in England. Until the next time, slàinte just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Slàinte, skål, cheers, make sure you check out Moor Beer Company. This one was pretty damn good.